My ex-girlfriend once scorned me, a high school dropout, turned worker, and discarded me like a worn-out fool. She treated me like nothing more than a money tree, and I thought I'd never see her again. But after 11 years, we happened to bump into each other at my daughter's school event.
Sheesh, I guess your wife suits you well, given you're a dropout and all.
She dresses so shabby. Could you keep your child away from mine? I'm worried your stupidity might rub off on my daughter. She hurled insults not only at me, but at my wife and daughter as well. My husband is the CEO. Unlike you, he's always too busy. Can't compare to your low-income lifestyle, huh? My smug ex, however, turned deathly pale at her husband's shocking behavior. My name is Liam Peterson. Today, I'm moving back to my hometown from New York with my wife and daughter. Has it really been 11 years? This feels nostalgic. After a few hours from New York, we arrived at our new home. I hadn't been back to my hometown since I was 25, and seeing the unchanged townscape made me feel nostalgic.
Dad, this house is beautiful. Will I be living here starting today?
Yes, that's right. Do you like it?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I remember you couldn't sleep because you were so excited last night. The child whose eyes sparkled in front of the new house was my daughter, Harper. Beside her, my wife looked at Harper with a gentle smile. My kind wife and my lively, cheerful daughter, Harper. For both of them, it's their first time living in a new city. But they are excited and helping with the moving process. I've decided to support these two with all my heart. A month quickly passed since the move, filled with busy days at work and in private life. Today is the first time we are attending a school event after Harper transferred schools. My wife and I worried about whether Harper was getting along at the new school, decided to go together to check on her. The school is also my alma mater, and although it has been nicely renovated, some remnants of the old days remain, bringing back memories.
Oh, aren't you Liam?
At that moment, I heard a familiar voice from behind. Are you Riley, by any chance?
Yes, it's been a while. Liam, who is this woman?
My wife looked at her curiously. She's an old friend from back in town. She wasn't actually a person I could proudly introduce to my wife. I kind of beat around the bush. That's because she was my ex-girlfriend, whom I had dated for about 3 years since I was 21. At that time, I truly loved Riley, but it seemed it wasn't mutual. I lost my parents when I was young, dropped out of high school, and was struggling to survive with my brother. Despite everything, I had savings of $5 million, which was a bit more than my peers. Riley approached me, targeting this money, and constantly asked for branded goods and expensive items. I thought, if it's for Riley, and bought her whatever she wanted, even if it was a bit of a stretch. But naturally, after constantly buying her luxury goods, my savings eventually ran out. And the moment she realized I had no more money to give, Riley's attitude completely changed.
I absolutely can't marry a dropout. You idiot.
She mocked me and dumped me right then and there. Riley saw me as nothing more than a convenient money source. Seeing Riley for the first time in a long time, she was draped in branded clothes, and all the accessories she wore seemed to be expensive. Apparently, she was able to marry a high-spec man to her liking. Is your kid in this class too?
Yes, her name is Avery. When did you return to this town?
Just recently. I came back due to work.
I see. So the new student Avery was telling me about is your daughter?
Riley then frowned and glared at us. What is it?
You're still dressing cheap as ever. From the looks of it, your income hasn't changed much, has it? Your wife seems to match your dropout style.
What? I wanted to retaliate, but we were in Harper's classroom. I couldn't cause a scene. I swallowed my words and stayed calm. My wife, looking embarrassed, looked down at her inexpensive clothes. Afterwards, Harper's class observation started. But the entire time, I was awkward, with Riley sitting next to us. Though the parents had an uncomfortable relationship, the kids were different. Harper, who initially struggled to fit in after transferring, was slowly becoming friends with everyone, thanks to Avery, Riley's daughter, who was the class representative. We started hearing more about the school, and we were delighted to see Harper sharing her school stories with a smile.
Dad, I was playing with Avery and her friends today.
Ha! Is that so? What were you guys playing?
Unicycle? Avery is really good at it. She's teaching me at the school playground until evening.
I hope Harper gets good at it soon. Did you come back with Avery and her friends after school?
No, Avery's mom came to pick her up, so she left before us.
I see. It would be nice if you could come back together tomorrow. According to Harper, Avery is good at both academics and sports, better than other kids. Harper admires Avery. Avery seems to be a straightforward kid, despite her mother. She must take after her father. That night, after hearing about Avery from Harper, while we were relaxing and watching TV after bath, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. Bewildered, I decided to answer it. Hello. Good evening. My daughter had your company today. Riley. Why suddenly? It seems you haven't changed your number since back in the days. Good thing I remembered it. Apparently, she had memorized my number even after changing hers. I see you have a good memory, but why are you calling me at this hour? I have a request. I want your daughter to stop playing with Avery. I couldn't believe what Riley just said. What are you talking about? I'm afraid your stupidity might rub off on my Avery from your daughter. I mean, your daughter can't be that bright either. Just because I was like that doesn't mean Harper would be the same. Stop talking nonsense. I couldn't hold back my anger and retorted when she insulted my daughter. Your daughter, right? She'll eventually turn out the same. I thought you were finally gone, but here you are again, a sore sight. Why did you come back? I returned due to work circumstances. That can't be helped, can it? Feeling pretty high and mighty for not doing any real work, aren't you? Too incompetent that you ended up this far flung, right? Apparently her prejudice against me hasn't changed since back in the day. Riley continued to hurl abuse at Harper and me, based on her groundless delusions. Unlike you, my husband is a CEO and makes $20 million a year. We're in a completely different league compared to your family. Please be aware of your standing, and don't let your foolish daughter get too close to Avery. Without waiting for my response, she ended the call abruptly. What happened, honey? It's nothing. Don't worry about it. Upon hearing my confrontational tone, my wife looked at me with concern. To spare her any unnecessary worry, I decided to keep the details of the call to myself. The next day, concerned about Harper after yesterday's call, I decided to pick her up from school after work. Looking across the schoolyard, amidst other kids playing cheerfully on the playground equipment, including Avery, I spotted Harper playing alone in a secluded area. Harper, I've come to pick you up. Let's go home together today. Dad, did you finish work early today? Yeah, but why are you playing alone over here? Well, I just felt like playing alone today, Harper answered awkwardly while twirling her hair. A habit she has when she's not being truthful. Did that woman tell Avery not to play with Harper? Ever since yesterday's call, negative thoughts have been racing through my mind. On our way home in the car, I casually asked Harper, Hey Harper, how's school going? Having fun? Yeah, it's fun. That's good to hear. Despite her words, Harper's reply lacked energy and she looked quite lonely. At this rate, Harper could end up isolated. I decided to prepare my wife for the worst and tell her about yesterday's call and Harper's situation today. Even though she'd been aware, my wife was shocked to hear the news and was worried about Harper, who had been excluded, yet pretended everything was all right. We decided to change the situation somehow and consulted Harper's teacher. However, nothing seemed particularly amiss in front of the teacher, and we were simply told, I'll keep an eye on it. But day by day, Harper seemed to be losing her cheer. I wondered if there was a way to give her an opportunity for change. That's when I remembered the parent-child camp, organized by the school, that was taking place next weekend. Although it was school organized, it wasn't mandatory to attend, and due to my work schedule, we hadn't planned on participating. Hey Harper, how about we join the parent-child camp next week? But you don't have to work? I think I can work it out, so I thought it might be nice to go camping together. What do you think? Yes, I want to go. Harper smiled joyfully. It felt like I hadn't seen that smile in a while. From then on, I worked overtime to clear my work, contacted the relevant parties, and somehow managed to free up some time for the camp. Finally, the day of the parent-child camp arrived. The venue was bustling, and we saw parents and children happily chatting together in groups of mothers engrossed in conversation. Among them, we also saw Riley, chatting with familiar moms beside Avery. Deciding to build friendly ties, we approached other parents at the event. Hello, our daughter Harper is always talking about your children. I greeted a woman who seemed to be the mother of one of Harper's friends. But after briefly nodding at me, she quickly left without a word. Huh? My wife was also trying to engage with others. But just like with me, people quickly exited our conversation. Before we knew it, we were isolated. Suddenly, a chuckle reached our ears. We turned and found Riley smirking at us. The same people who had walked away were now gathering around Riley, sneaking glances our way. Damn, was this her doing? I was furious at Riley's subtle bullying. But this was a special family camp. We couldn't let it ruin our day. Harper, let's start our activities. What are we making again?
Dad, weren't you listening? We're making barbecue. First, we need to start the fire.
That's right. Good job. Harper, I'll go grab the materials. In my haste to get everything ready, I saw my wife and Harper laughing. Their laughter eased my worries. I'm glad you laughed. Despite the isolation, I tried my best to make sure they had fun. As the sky began to turn the color of the setting sun, we finally enjoyed our barbecue. It was refreshing and delicious to enjoy a meal we had all made together.
You all seem so close. How lovely.
Just then, as if on cue, Riley showed up to disrupt our peaceful moment. What do you want?
Oh, nothing. Just admiring how leisurely unemployed people seem to be. Lucky Harper, getting to camp because of her low-income daddy.
Riley's mocking was loud enough for everyone to hear. The other parents followed Riley's lead and started laughing too. The situation was unbearable. My wife clenched her jaw in frustration, while Harper looked down, on the verge of tears. Riley, I took a day off to be here. Can you please leave us alone?
I bet your boss is thrilled to have an incompetent worker like you take the day off. You know my husband is a CEO. He's busy every single day.
Surrounded by supportive parents, Riley continued to belittle us. Just then, a man walked in from the entrance of the campsite. Sorry I'm late.
Daddy! Dear, is everything okay with your work?
It seemed Riley's husband had finally arrived. Yeah, I finished it up a little early today. Is Avery having a good time?
Of course, I've been having a lovely chat with the other moms too.
Riley stood next to her husband, showing off her successful spouse to everyone. Basking in the admiration of the other parents, Riley seemed quite pleased. Her husband engaged with the crowd for a while, but then seemed to notice us off in the distance. Riley, who's that family over there?
Ah, the new folks in town. Look at that man over there, not working from the morning like the rest of us. It's such a shame to watch. And you're so much better than him.
Hold on a second. That man is... Riley's husband hastily approached me. Indeed, if it isn't Mr. Peterson, the company president. It's been a while. I never thought we'd meet here. Huh, you know me. Seeing her husband hurriedly greet me, Riley could hardly hide her bewilderment. Riley, why don't you greet him too? This man is the president of an important client company. They're developing drones.
This guy is a company president?
Riley looked at me with disbelief. Yes, I am the president of a drone development company. My wife is the vice president. Originally, it was a small startup with just a few employees, but now, thanks to our efforts, it has grown to rank among the top 10 fastest growing companies across the country. Riley's husband's company, which is making notable progress in agriculture, logistics, and research by utilizing drones, has come to rely heavily on the drones my company produces.
By the way, Mr. Peterson, why are you in this town? I thought you were residing in New York.
The local politician asked me to create a new industry here, to bring life back to the town and make it more youth-friendly. I'm originally from here and have always loved this town, so I was moved by the politician's passionate request.
Is that so? That's very like you, Mr. Peterson.
No, I'm flattered. As she listened to our conversation, Riley turned pale beside her husband. Riley, are you all right? Her husband showed concern for Riley's ashen complexion.
No, it's nothing really. Mom, you were being mean to Harper and Harper's mom and dad just now.
Avery! Despite her daughter's attempts to hide the truth, Avery inadvertently revealed what had happened. What? What's going on? Avery, can you explain further?
It's nothing really. We were just talking.
I'm asking Avery, not you. So, what happened?
Mom told me before. She said I couldn't play with Harper. I wanted to be friends with Harper, but she got mad at me and told me I'd be in trouble if I did.
Avery hung her head in sadness.
Mom also said really mean things to Harper and her family until Dad came. She called them stupid and incompetent. I wanted to tell her to stop, but I was too scared of Mom.
Riley, what have you said to Mr. Peterson and his family? Hearing Avery's story, Riley's husband reprimanded her with a pale face.
I'm sorry. I didn't know it was like this.
Even if you didn't know, you've always judged people's worth by their money and education too much. You dismiss everyone as worthless. Your words could potentially destroy my company.
What? That's a lie.
Understanding the gravity of her actions, Riley's voice trembled and her eyes filled with tears.
But why didn't you say anything until now? You could have talked back at any point.
Unable to comprehend, Riley questioned me with a puzzled look on her face. We didn't want to bicker over status and money in front of our children, making fools of ourselves. Didn't that embarrass you? I added.
Riley
mumbled, her face turning bright red. I'm so sorry, sir. I can't believe what my wife has done to you and your family. Riley's husband was profusely apologizing to me, his head bowed in deep remorse.
I'm so sorry, it's all my fault. Please don't cut ties with my husband's company.
Riley, too, was desperately begging for forgiveness. Don't worry, I'm not going to end our business dealings.
Really?
Yeah, but I have one favor to ask. I turned to face Riley squarely. At this, Riley's face tensed. Could you try to get along better with my wife and daughter from now on? They've just moved here and are likely feeling quite unsettled. Upon hearing this, Avery, who had been watching from a distance, spoke up to Riley, looking apologetic.
Mom, you told me I couldn't play with Harper, but I really want to be friends with her. Is that okay?
Yes, do as you wish. At those words, Avery, looking pleased, ran over to Harper.
Harper, I'm sorry for leaving you out. Avery, it's okay.
Harper agreed to a truce and shook hands with Avery.
Harper, let's go play with everyone over there.
The two of them held hands and ran off towards their friends, smiling all the way. I watched them, marveling at the resilience of children. Kids are amazing, even at such a young age. They have their own wills, can apologize honestly, and move forward. That's something we adults struggle with.
At my words,
Riley murmured.
Yes, that's true. I was wrong about you. I've been judging you based on the past. You've become such a remarkable person since we parted ways. I'm sorry.
Haha, so you've finally seen the light, huh? Thinking about our children and their future, I decided to forgive what Riley had said and done. I didn't want our issues as parents to affect our children's futures. After the camping trip, Riley stopped looking down on me and bragging incessantly about her husband to the other parents. Furthermore, she has begun to open up slowly but surely to my wife and Harper. Harper, who was downcast just a few days ago, is no longer ostracized, and she's back to the bright, kind child she used to be. Now, she's become Avery's best friend, leading a happy school life almost every day. Now, we feel blessed to hear Harper's sincere words about how she's happy.
Will you be working late today?
Yeah, I have an important meeting with a client. I replied, gathering my work documents into a bag and preparing to leave the house.
Dad?
Suddenly, Harper dashed to the front door, halting my attempt to open it. What's up, Harper? Did you forget something?
No, that's not it. There's something I want to say.
Oh, what's the formal tone all of a sudden?
Well, I know I've said a lot of things before, but I think you're really cool. Dad, working so hard all the time. Thanks for always doing so much for us.
With that, Harper bashfully handed me something red. Is this a good luck charm?
Yeah, Avery and I made it together at her house yesterday. It's to wish you joy as you work hard every day. There were some tricky parts, but Avery's mom helped a bit.
I see. Thanks, Harper. I'll treasure it. I carefully stowed the slightly awkward charm in my bag. Well then, I'm off.
Okay, take care.
With a smile on my lips, I cheerfully opened the front door to start another day.